Hello everyone. Today I'm going to share how to import a group of stories for a project so you don't have to copy a spreadsheet one cell at a time into one field at a time in ServiceNow's story module. The way begins, most of these files will come with a cover sheet on them. That cover sheet is not at all useful when we consider the import. So the instructions to import stories, that section, we're going to go ahead and delete that tab. We want to make sure that for the stories, that the stories fields, the first column matches a field in stories, and in this case, product, theme, epic, short description, description, acceptance criteria. Those are all fields in story. This is set up correctly. I'm going to save this. And with that document saved, our SPM, PPM starter stories, I'm going to close this document and we will begin with ServiceNow. The way we begin with ServiceNow is we will go into Stories in Agile, and from a Stories list view, we want to select anywhere within the column. We will select the any column. You select import. And then what we're going to do is we want to import external data into a story. We want to insert that because there's no stories to update. Do we want to create an Excel template? We've already got one. Include all fields in the template? Yes, now we do. And now we want to go select that template. And the one that we select is the one we've just edited, SPM PPM Stories, Starter Stories for Vancouver. We will select that file. We will click Open. That will appear as a selected file in the Excel template file. So we will then select simply Upload. And it'll go through an upload progress. Let us know when it's done. And this import was complete and succeeded. Now, before we assume it's succeeded, we want to preview the imported data because sometimes there's surprises on import. This is a good example of such. 42 rows were inserted with errors in the import set. We can click to show all rows to see all rows in the import set. When the Ignore Rows and Complete Import is selected, ServiceNow will attempt to fit the values into the ideal target fields. When that's impossible, that particular cell will be ignored. So let's see what's the unmatching reference. In this case, the unmatching reference value was for product. What that means is it didn't know how to map the existing product. So in this case, we can, as it says, we could, if we wanted to correct that, we could click back and we could remove that column. But the other option is to simply ignore the row errors and complete the import, which is what I'm going to do at this time. 42 records, which means 42 stories, were imported, and we see now that the product field did not come in for anything. It came in as empty for all of the SPM PPM product. That's okay. That's an easy fix. We've got a story number for each. We've got the short description. We would want to assign the assignment group. Your developer will want to add points to the story and modify the story as is appropriate. So if we bring up the story for these, we will see that all the fields in the spreadsheet are now mapped to each story. Every story has a story number. If your product was found or was not found, you could actually go in and add it. In this case, only one product is found in the system. You would need to add that new product model for that to reference. Not an issue. You can easily add that later. Short description, your description, and your acceptance criteria is all brought into the model cleanly. So in story format as a role, I need to do this, configure the fiscal calendar, so that the appropriate fiscal periods are available for use within project and portfolio management. And then, how do I know that this was done? That's in the acceptance criteria. Given I'm a system administrator, all fiscal periods were generated correctly with the correct start and end date based upon the following criteria. And this basically will line out how the solution from the user story and the description was configured. And you could go into the system and validate that it's working like that. So when I'm a system admin, I will look for the correct format of the fiscal calendar, the fiscal units, the month, day, year, end year, what prefix for the fiscal year, what default for quarter, what prefix for month. When I'm a project manager, I want to go in and make sure that the fiscal year can be selected when creating any cost plans. So that is how the stories are brought in. Every story is automatically assigned a number. It takes the short description from the spreadsheet. It takes um, the short description, and then the description is the user story. If you wanted to see them all in one list, you've got your product, your number, your short description, assignment group, sprint points, state, and priority. So let's say you wanted to see everything on one page that you brought in for the stories. You could bring over description, and we'll move this up under short description, and that'll allow us to view um, all descriptions, and then we can move in up under description, we can move in the acceptance criteria. This is going to create a kind of longish row, but it's going to let you see a complete page view of all of the attributes that we've brought in and the attributes that remain to be completed. So that is a very quick way of bringing in 42 stories that are now ready to be edited, sized, assigned, sprints assigned against them, and begin your review process. I hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful.